Hello, everybody, and welcome to Inside the Circuit, the show that brings you the latest news and insight from the world of Roborace tech and auto. My name is Rachel Stringer, and I'm in the hot seat once again this week from my home studio setup in London in the UK. And it's great to be back hosting for you guys. And as ever, we'd love to hear from you at home. So if you have any questions, then please do send them in. Either here on Twitch, just pop them in the comment section next to the little screen there, and we'll try and answer them, or on our social channels at Roborace on Instagram or Twitter, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. And I'm going to say a big hello as well to those of you who may have just stumbled across Roborace for the first time, and you may be asking, what are we, who are we? Well, I'm going to tell you now, because we're the world's first fully autonomous, all-electric racing series, and we're actually halfway through season beta, which is the final time for our competing teams to develop their racing AIs before we start season 1. Hopefully, I always say this, but very soon. But in the meantime, while we wait for the action to get back on track, we've been treating you guys something a little bit different, something a little bit new, a set of sim racing challenges, which we've called Off Sprint, and each individual challenge also has a different name as well, depending on the theme of the race. And sim racing is great because it just gives the teams a chance to warm up, and it also gives them a chance to keep developing their AIs as well. It's also guaranteed to provide a bit of entertainment for you guys at home as well. It's been pretty eventful, to say the least. Our next event as well is coming up only next week on the 10th of December. So make sure you tune in for that one. Okay, let's kick off our show then. Firstly, with a bit of news for you guys at home. The first season of Extreme E will come to an end this month. After several changes to the calendar because of ongoing travel restrictions, the Jurassic Grand Prix has been scheduled to take place right here in the UK on the coast of Dorset. And in Roborace news, the 4th Global Manufacturing and Industrialization Summit took place in Dubai last week, and our very own Robocar was in attendance. You can see it there. Arguably one of the most high-profile manufacturing and advanced technology conferences. It attracted over 125 leaders from local, regional and global governments and organizations, and a focus as well on exploring and involving integration of human and machines and rewriting societies. It was a perfect place to send our Robocars, drawing crowds all week and attracting prestigious guests from all over the world, including the Minister of Industry and Advanced Technology, Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber. Pretty cool stuff, hey. Okay, well, speaking of the Robocar, this links us very nicely to the next part of our show, because we've actually delved into the Roborace archives to bring you a very special film about how the Robocar, Roborace's first design, came to be, from our infamous designer, Daniel Simon. Check this out.
I personally think that you have to know the past to create the future. I don't believe that there's the cut and you ignore everything that happens and just start looking forward. What we need to do with Roborace, we need to build a bridge between two worlds that are about to clash right now, which is the hardcore auto-enthusiastic world and where artificial intelligence is happening. Well, we started with literally with a blank sheet of paper, and we created a very narrow fuselage. And we have 4 wheels. But there we had already the first very big creative opportunity. How do we connect those 4 wheels to the fuselage? So the first thing we did is angle the rear wheel arches forward. And as you can see here, the first read you get here is almost like a rocket, you know, like a child would draw a rocket. And so if you flip them around, just like that, It doesn't look like any vehicle I've ever seen before. And in the design world, we call this a theme. We want Roborace to be also entertaining and to be the pioneer of a new era of racing. So the point where engineering came in now is that this doesn't have enough surface to create downforce. So when I connect now the floor here to the machine, we get this very, very interesting three-dimensional line that just wraps around the car in a very complex fashion. It looks so simple from the top, but believe me, we worked months to just get that right from all the angles. Additionally, it creates room for a diffuser. And a diffuser is a quite simplistic aerodynamic device which creates, negative lift under the car and literally sucks it to the road. And if I connect this, we already see now the silhouette of our final design, which is the core of the machine that houses all the sensors and the aerodynamic devices. So if I add here a bit of gradation, probably not much talking right now, I'm just sculpting the car. So you see a very clear separation now of the fuselage and the four wheel flares and the floor in between. Even if this is just a two-dimensional representation of the car, it worked out really well in all three dimensions. As a designer, you create objects that enter the public space forever. And I think we're really onto something here, giving this machine a shape. It doesn't only have to look interesting or good. You have actually quite a responsibility. The responsibility to create something meaningful that has a message and an essence is what a designer lives and breathes for.
Well, that was pretty fascinating, wasn't it? It was great to see Daniel Simon's design literally come to life from a sketch on a bit of paper to what we saw on screen there, which definitely looks like something from the future. And he's now working on the next generation of car as well, the Metabot. I'm very excited to see how this one turns out. He's working on this, though, with a very talented group of individuals over in Los Angeles. And one of those guys is Robin Shute, a designer and engineer. And earlier on in the week, our producer Lisa caught up with Robin to see how things are going down over in LA.
Well, Robin, first of all, thank you so much for coming on Inside the Circuit this week. You are coming from LA, I believe, sunny LA, better than cold, blighty. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, no, it's great weather over here in LA right now, but I'm also looking forward to getting back to the UK soon.
Now, we just saw a film just then about the legendary designer Daniel Simon. Now, I believe you're working with him. What is that like? What's he like?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, it's been really fun working with him. What surprised me the most is actually how knowledgeable he is from an engineering perspective. So it made creating cars really quite easy because we were kind of talking the same language to start with, and he's very inquisitive about how all these engineering pieces work. So it was great kind of sharing my knowledge with him and vice versa, and it was a great collaboration on Metabot. So yeah, really excited to show everyone what that's going to look like.
Yeah, we'll get onto that very shortly. But that film we just saw was all about the Robocar. Now, can you remember what you thought of the Robocar the first time you saw it? Because it's a pretty impressive piece of machinery, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Very provocative, I would say, first time I saw that, because it was thrown out at us as disruption to motorsport, and yeah, when you see these ideas and concepts, it is something very, very new and not necessarily intuitive to get your head around it to start with. So Yeah, it was not quite scary, but getting that way, and then looking into it, learning about it, it's looked fast as well. That's the other thing I would say. It looked very, very purposeful. So a really, really neat concept. Again, some sound engineering pieces behind, a very well designed vehicle as well.
One of the things that surprised me, and I don't know because I'm not a designer and engineer, but the way Daniel hand draws things. And because I always expect things now to be done kind of by computers, and I guess it kind of is very old school. Were you kind of surprised by his way of working like that?
Yeah, it's very interesting with Daniel because he is the combination of the two. And it's actually similar in engineering perspective. Like when you want to get things in your head down onto something quickly, I still think, pen and paper or pencil and paper is the quickest way to do it. It's a really good tool for just initial ideas and trying to get something down. And then once you go into the 3D digital world, that just takes a bit more time. So can interrupt the creative process. But I would say with Daniel, what's astonishing is how quickly you can throw it in there and almost sketch in 3D space. So although the initial sketches were done pencil and paper, we very quickly went over into 3D, and with that you can kind of create a car in like less than a day from those initial sketches and ideas. So that for me is the exciting bit, and you can do so much with those 3D models. You can wear VR goggles and walk around it and kind of see it, not in real life, but almost in that perspective.
Now, obviously, the Robocar is a very expensive piece of machinery, and we would have loved our teams to be able to race around the track in those. But instead, we designed the DevBot. Well, I say we, I had nothing to do with it. Did you have something to do with the DevBot design?
I had nothing to do with it either. So yeah, I guess spectators with this one, yeah.
But you are involved in the kind of the DevBot 2.0, as some of us are calling it, the Metabot. What can you tell us about that? Because that is our next generation of car that, everyone at Roborace is super, super excited about. What can you tell us about it? Because I know it's very top secret.
Yes, I can't say too much about it, but I can kind of maybe reveal or talk about a couple of things around it. And it's actually quite a different vehicle to what we see with Robocar and DevBot. This car has been designed to be a lot more versatile, and that just opens up the potential of places we can go and run it on. Not only that, it's been designed for multi-agent racing in mind. And there's a couple aspects around that. So the first one is it being cheaper, so we can make more of them. And also, if we crash into each other, it's not such a big bill or tab to pay at the end of it. And the other thing is just making it a bit more durable, so it can take a few hits and knocks without really breaking or destroying the car. So there's some key differences there, which I won't give too much away, but the rest you're going to have to wait and see.
What's it like working on something so secretive? Is it because I guess you can't sort of talk about it to anyone sort of at the end of the day? It's a bit like being James Bond almost. You can't tell people the mission that you're working on.
Yeah, I'm really bad at keeping secrets, so it's been really hard for me.
I hope the bosses are watching.
Yeah, Daniel, where are you? It's been tough, and there is, people are always inquisitive about what you're doing. It's a very, very exciting project. So yeah, to not speak in too much detail with people is tough, but knowing that it is going to be so exciting, and when we do show the world, it's going to be a big exciting splash. So I don't want to spoil that. So the excitement of reveal is keeping my lips tight at the moment. Yeah.
And how does your kind of process work? And how long have you been working on this project?
So project is almost a year now, actually, for me. And it's been an interesting one because it's more so, the available resources and people around you that really dictate how we go and do it. So it's that combination of working with both Arrival and Roborace on this vehicle. That's been the biggest challenge. The way I like to run things, and it's kind of this new age techie way, is a little kind of more loosey-goosey, because it's not always clear what you have to do next. It's just new technologies we're developing here, and we can't follow a set procedure. So basically, we just have to kind of think about our long-term goals as well as short-term what we should be doing next, and try and balance and blend the two as best as possible.
So it's been a year in the process for you personally. So when are you going to finish on it? When can we expect to see Metabot?
Finishing is maybe not the right term. I don't think we'll ever be finished with anything, but we are hoping to reveal Metabot in the spring. So that's looking like you'll be seeing it within the next couple months or so. So soon, yeah.
And how do you feel, launching a project like this? Because I guess there's excitement, that there's, nervousness, and how are you hoping it will be received?
I think when everyone sees this car, they'll understand a little more about what it can do. We've also now had the benefit of Robocar and DevBot existing. So, when Robocar first came out, there was very little context of what it is or what it could do. But now Roborace has been established for a bit. I think this will be a bit more obvious what this car is designed and intended for. And I think that'll get people excited. So, yeah, I'm really excited to reveal it.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And is there only going to be one of them, or have you made multiple ones, or is that something you also can't say?
So there will be multiples of them, especially when we look at running the season 1 with them. We're working on that now. I can't say how many are in existence at the moment, but you'll be seeing a grid, a fleet of cars.
Amazing. And aside from creating groundbreaking tech, what else are you working on? Are you working on anything else, or is your sole focus getting this Metabot done?
Metabot is taking up pretty much all my time at the moment. I've got a couple other things going. Obviously, the Pikes Peak program I have, that's still happening, and I'm working towards getting the entry ready for 2022. I've also been dabbling in a little bit of rallying recently as well, which has been fun. So just keeping me busy. I'm too busy at the moment, so it's all good.
So rallying with combustion engines, when are we going to see autonomous rally?
Ooh, I don't know, maybe shortly, maybe in a while, I can't say.
Well, we should watch this space. Robin, thank you so much for joining us this week, and if we don't see you before, then have a very great Christmas.
Thank you, Lisa. Great chatting with you, and speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Well, it's such a lovely chat there. Lisa really putting Robin on the spot, and he wasn't giving away too much about the Metabot, was he? Only revealing that it's being released in the spring. There'll be a fleet, but not much more than that. And good luck to Robin as well in all his other pursuits, because you may not realise he's a professional racing driver in his other world as well. So great to have some time with him and Lisa and get that great conversation. Okay, well, let's go on to our next sim challenge. It's coming up next week, as we already mentioned, off Sprint 4. But if you missed that one in the last couple of weeks, don't worry, because we have a quick review for you as well. And the last one, we wanted to make it a little bit more tricky. Okay, so what we decided to do was a blind race. You may be a little bit confused, don't worry. We were to begin with, because the teams, they had to hand in their AI codes over to us 24 hours before the start of the show. We then ran the races and invited the participating teams to join us on the next day to see how they got on. I mean, it was crazy. The sim challenge was a 9.65k traffic sprint, and each team had to complete the sprint in the allocated 8 minutes that was given to them. They had one attempt to try and complete the distance, and the winning team was the team with the most amount of time remaining after they completed the distance. As always, there was lots of information to get your head around there, but we hope you got it, because we have a little recap for you right now of Off Sprint 4. Enjoy.
So let's see how our car, our algorithms will participate and which result we will show.
All right, well, let's see. This is a more tentative overtake here, guys. This is not quite as aggressive as the last few. That was nice.
I'm so happy that we have no hits here.
So far, so good, and a nice move. Looks like around the outside there. Another nice overtake. This kind of gives us a flavour as well, doesn't it, of what it is going to be like when we get real wheel-to-wheel racing.
I think it's important to mention also that in real wheel-to-wheel racing, we also expect our opponents to react appropriately to our actions, because sometimes, and we have seen this in this run as well, there were situations we were basically taking over the racing line and we expect the other car to back off, but it was continuing as we were simply not there. It's not very realistic as well. So I think it's important to talk about this as well.
Once again, it's Acronis SIT Autonomous who are victorious, but only just really. 28 seconds was the difference between them and Polymove after a rather cautious start from the Italian team's AI. And Autonomous Racing, Graz taking a rather cautious approach to this mission, but crucially completing it within the allotted time. So fantastic effort from all three teams. Congratulations once again to all of them.
Yeah, a big well done to Team SIT, once again topping the leaderboard. And as I mentioned earlier, our next off-sprint challenge is just around the corner. It's next week on December the 10th, so make sure you tune in for that one. Well, that is just about it for this week's show. But as always, please do stay connected. You can ask us any questions you may have here on the Twitch channel or on our social channels as well, Instagram or Twitter, which is at Roborace. We love to answer any burning questions that you guys might have about the show or about what's still to come in the future. Well, we hope you guys did enjoy today's show and learned a lot of information from our great guests, including Daniel and Robin, of course. And we'll be back, like we mentioned, next week with an off-sprint challenge. We hope to see you then, but if not, we'll see you soon. Take care. Goodbye.